Buongiorno! Welcome to my channel there and back again. Today I'm taking you to a special location, Bellagio, a small town by Lake Como in Italy. Bellagio is a famous touristy town, especially in the summer. Since it's very small, there's not even a high school there. It also broke all of the stereotypes about Italy that I've heard of. Well, I went there in the winter, but I felt very safe and I didn't have to worry about pickpockets. Of course, I still had to be careful in Milano Airport where I flew to. I took a shuttle from the airport to Bellagio. If you're not a local, and probably you're not if you're watching my video, it's better to take public transportation there because the road to Bellagio is very narrow and windy and it's by a cliff. A lot of tourists mistaken it for a one-way road. If you must take your own vehicle though, it is better to drive to Como City and then take a ferry across the lake. I spent a few days in Bellagio, but I think you could finish everything in one day if you want to. I started walking from the town hall where there are multiple interesting buildings and architects around, and then I walked toward this hill which overlooks the downtown, the lake, and the mountains behind. It is a famous spot that you see on social media, and I'll link a location down below. It took me about 15 minutes to reach downtown from that location. Keep in mind that a lot of the attractions are closed in Bellagio during the winter, so plan accordingly if you want to do a little bit more than just walking around the town, eating and shopping. But don't worry, this episode has a little bit more than that. During this trip, I had a privilege to visit one of the most beautiful parks in the world, Villa Serbelloni and the garden around it. The villa itself dates back to the 15th century. It is beautifully decorated inside and overlooks a stunning view of the Italian Alps as well as Lake Como. In 1959, an Italian noble who didn't have an heir donated this compound to the Rockefeller Foundation for the advancement of scholarship, whether it be science, art, or music. The compound now is considered a private property and is used mostly for hosting meetings, but is still accessible to the public during guided tours, which are open during the summer. Anyhow, I managed to get through the front gate of the Rockefeller Foundation. Here I was walking toward the top of the hill, and let's visit our first destination, the villa. As I said, the villa was first built in the 15th century. Of course, it went through multiple renovations, but I am very impressed at how well they could maintain the outside and the inside of this building. I'm at the main library, and even here you can see maintenance of the little details of the arts at the ceiling. Here there are multiple books, art pieces, and recordings of music. Many of them were finished during the Bellagio residency program. And of course, there is this library card system that had been maintained. Honestly, I don't remember using them during my childhood. And of course, this villa used to be a residence of a duke and a duchess, so the interior decoration is stunningly beautiful and you wouldn't want to miss a single room in this building. Up next, I was on my way to visit Castello di Bellagio, a castle ruin found within this compound. I thought it was very funny that a tennis court was found along the way. Anyways, up the stairs we go. We finally made it to the castle ruin. The castle was originally built in the 6th century before Christ era and was destroyed in 1375. I'm still very impressed that the foundation lasts for more than 2,000 years, and of course it is at a perfect spot to look out for possible invaders. Now I am at the main chamber of the castle ruin. There is a cutout as a shape of the cross that is above the door. I think this was created later when the castle was occupied by the Romans during the Roman Empire. I was walking toward the other end of the foundation of the castle. Here there are hidden steps that leads you to the top of the foundation. It was more or less the second floor. I felt that I had to be very careful with my steps because there were big holes, like the ceilings had been removed and I could see the main chamber. So if I wasn't careful enough, I could have fallen. Now that I was content with exploring the castle ruin, which, to be honest, I went up there 3 times, I was walking back down toward the main garden where you can see multiple olive trees. I wanted to show you the last part of this compound. This building used to be a monastery. It is now being used for meetings, but nevertheless, you can see they keep the old paintings and the old decorations. Last but not least, I wanted to show you something from this trip that reminded me of peace. Here I spotted a permanent peace flame monument. The flame had been lit to honor peace, and it encourages anyone who passes by to think about making peace all around the world.